Welcome to the Bet365 Stadium for this much anticipated championship clash between Stoke and West Brom. The home side are unbeaten. In fact, they've won every game and they've won each of their opening 3 league games this season and will be looking to win their opening 4 for the first time since 1999 in the 3rd tier. Well, after remaining unbeaten in the championship so far this season with a win, with 2 wins and a draw, West Brom will be looking in 3 of their opening 4 league games of a campaign for the 2nd consecutive season. Well, it's been a turbulent week for West Brom. They've sold players, they've bought players. Their manager is serving a touchline ban today. It's been a little more settled for Stoke City and Mark Robins as they return back here to the Bet365 Stadium, where these supporters are beginning to dream and hope after such a positive start to the season. Quite the contrast from how last season ended. Well, as Mark Robins said this week, the supporters are falling in love with the club all over again, given the start to this campaign. A far cry from final day survival with the draw against Derby County back in May. Doesn't seem that long ago. In fact, it's not. It's only 119 days. So from final day survival to the top of the championship with 3 wins from 3. In the words of Stoke City boss Mark Robins, the supporters are falling in love with the club again, but he's not getting carried away just yet. Around 26,000 expected inside this stadium today for the early kick-off, eagerly anticipating seeing their team again. They're enjoying their football again and forgetting the Carabao Cup exit during the week where multiple changes were made. The victory away at Southampton last weekend was much more realistic of what Robins has achieved so far throughout pre-season and then into the campaign. What a job he has done so far, and I'm delighted to say today I'm joined by Sam Parkin. And Sam, you must be impressed with what Mark Robins has been able to do.
Yeah, incredibly impressed. Probably didn't anticipate it, but that's probably a product of being burnt over the last few seasons, when you always expect Stoke to do better than they have been in the 2nd tier. So yeah, these fans rightly really optimistic. I think in all departments they seem to have improved. And absolutely going forward, they seem to have a new lease of life. There seems to be an electricity about their forward play in transition. That's where West Brom will have to be wary today. But yeah, look to be some savvy work done in the transfer market. And I think for both clubs, when there's a lot of change managerially at West Brom, probably more so the players at Stoke, you expect to take a bit of time, but none of it at the moment. Both teams starting brilliantly well.
Well, there will be a roar to greet the arrival of the players from Stoke City and from West Brom. It is a game, maybe it's fair to say, before the season started, it wasn't one that jumped out, but given starts to the season, unbeaten starts, and in Stoke's case, a 100% winning record, there is a lot of anticipation about this lunchtime kickoff here at the Bet365 Stadium. Can Stoke City continue their fine start to the season, or can West Brom, who have had a turbulent week with player sales, player arrivals, and Ryan Mason about to begin a touchline ban following his red card against Portsmouth, can they inflict the first taste of disappointment on this Stoke City team this season? Well, unsurprisingly, Mark Robins opts for an unchanged side from the last league outing against Southampton. Disappointing as it was, the League Cup defeat against Bradford at least allowed Divine Mubama a chance to serve a one-game suspension following his dismissal at St Mary's. Ashley Phillips is still waiting to come into the 11, and that's all to do with the form of Bosun Lawal. Sorba Thomas is loving life at the moment, and someone the much-changed right-hand side of West Brom will need to be aware of. And the reason for change on the right, Darnell Furlong and Tom Fellows were sold to Ipswich and Southampton respectively in the last few days. Chris Mepham replaces Furlong, but whether he slots in at centre-back with George Campbell moving to full-back or vice versa remains to be seen. Jed Wallace comes in as a captain, allowing Isaac Price to continue in the 10 role that he's thrived in recently. Well, Sam, Sorba Thomas is a man in form.
Yeah, he's been electric, not only for his club side, new club side, but also internationally for Wales. Problem that West Brom have got, they're going to have a centre-half playing out of position at right back. You get tight to him, he can go beyond you. If you stand off him, he's got terrific delivery. Wrapped up the assist for his previous club, Huddersfield, in the second tier. So someone that I have to be watched today. And Hegerberg, despite not getting the goals that his performances have deserved, he's been a real plus, I think, for West Brom across the first few days. Got his maiden goal, obviously, in the cup competition. He'd be desperate to start by scoring in the championship as quickly as possible, but it's his hold-up play, his strength and his nuisance factor that's really endeared himself to the West Brom supporters so far.
We saw a glimpse of that against Portsmouth last weekend when he was through on goal and in quite the battle. One of the incidents that led Ryan Mason to be sent off, and as a result he's in the stands today and won't have to have any interactions with today's referee, Matthew Donoghue. So Mubama, having served that suspension in the League Cup, gets things underway for Stoke, and as we've mentioned, the sense of anticipation, these supporters delighted to be watching their team play again. And Bradford aside, it is the start to the season has really given them that excitement back. I was intrigued by Mark Robins' comments about the supporters falling in love with their club again, and when things are going well, that feeling does reverberate right around the football club.
Yeah, well, it's not been a quick fix. That's an understatement. Let's not get carried away. It's only 3 games, but they have been starved of success, of excitement, I think, at this stadium across the last, I don't know how many years, 5, 6 seasons. It feels like where perennially you feel that they're going to challenge, and they've done anything but. So it's been a great start. It's only that, but they have to be pleased with the business they've done. You look at Creswell at left back, the improvement there. Thomas, we've already spoken of. Mubama, who you just mentioned, so important to have a presence, but obviously that goal threat, and I think that's something that has severely been lacking. That little bit of oomph in the final third, it looks like they've got that in abundance, and this will be this early stage of the season against a side who's accrued 7 points from their first 3 games. Something of a statement, and a big game in this part of the country as well. Big crowd, a lot of expectation after brilliant starts for both sides.
Mowat with the sliced attempt at a clearance, and eventually West Brom taking no chances. Chris Mepham coming into the team for West Brom today. As they win a free kick here.
A bit scrappy. Opening exchanges. West Brom were able to get their foot on the ball. This is their first chance to have a little bit of possession.
Well, it is the first attempt in anger on goal. It's Jed Wallace. The other one of those two changes, mentioned Mepham, and what a signing that could prove to be for West Brom. A reunion with Nat Phillips. But a highly experienced centre-back from his Bournemouth and Brentford days. 2 promotions from the Championship. The recent one is last season for Sunderland.
This is going to be a difficult challenge for West Bromwich Albion, despite the really good start to the campaign, the unbeaten start. Essentially, you've got a central midfielder by trade playing at left-back. Callum Styles taking the throw-in now, and of course, on the other side, Campbell, who's done very well at centre-half, alongside Phillips, now playing right-back against, yes, again, it's very early stage, but probably one of the standout players in an attacking sense in the division, in Thomas. So, yeah, problematic, and if Stoke can play going towards the opposition goal, what they have done, they should cause all manner of problems for a back four, which I'm sure will evolve for West Brom throughout the season, given the business that they have done. Gilchrist coming in, he will, I'm sure, become a regular at right back.
Well, that is careless from Wilmot. He's given it straight to Malumbai. Well, a glimpse there of Isaac Price and Sorba Thomas together, the pair that really standing out numbers-wise in the early part of the season, as Sam's already alluded to, with Thomas, 2 goals, 3 assists in the Championship this season. For Price, 3 goals in 3 league matches, one of 7 joint top scorers in the division. Johansson has found the gap, and that has allowed Stoke to advance this move forward. Baker. Chamadou. And then here is Lowell. And again, I mentioned him earlier. He is the reason that Stoke defence has been pretty settled in league action. He's done well in the first chance here for the running of Mubama to be shown. Not a great record for Stoke against West Brom in league action.
It'll be an interesting matchup. Spoke of the strength of Hegerberg and the good level of performance since he came to the country, but as you just touched on, Lowell's been so dependable, played in midfield, in the cup, so versatile, but his strength, I think, at centre-half, that'll be a really interesting matchup, and Hegerberg will have to do his utmost to get his team up the pitch with that impressive hold-up play, but he's up against someone who started the season in brilliant form.
Hint of a fall through. That's a fine. The wall is wasteful.
early sparring, but already you can see that there's a lot more composure about Stoke when they're looking to play out. I think there'll be a variety in their play. Johansson showed that. Yes, they were down to 10, but with that brilliant release for Sorba Thomas at St Mary's the other day, we've already seen him play through the two West Brom forwards, with Price joining Hegeba when they're looking to close down. Bypass that comfortably, but I can see a renewed confidence about the home side, that's for sure.
What's that like for a striker, Sam, when you know you've got a goalkeeper who can, forget kicking for a moment, but throw it like Johansson did last week and give you that outlet?
Great, yeah. You want, I suppose, as a centre forward, on occasion it can be really frustrating if it goes short all the time, especially if you've got players with pace in transition. So it's a big part of the modern game, and a lot of goalkeepers now have got incredible distribution, not only with their feet but with their hands as well. So yeah, you've always got to be looking as a front player, especially the central one, that every player on the pitch is going to be looking for you at all times, which sounds crazy saying it out loud, but that's the reality of being a centre forward, I think, in the modern game.
Lowell has some defending to do. He's done it well, calm, composed. There was one moment in pre-season that really impressed Stoke with Bosun Lamal, and it was his performance against Jorgen Strand Larsen, the Wolves striker, and target of Newcastle, of course, and his individual performance against him in a pre-season friendly. It would impress the staff here at Stoke City. Here come West Brom, but Stoke quickly suffocating them, but the ball back in their possession. Mowat. On to Styles. That delivery may catch out Johansson, and he's had to react, and he almost carried that over his own goal line.
He's got a whack for his troubles, and I think he does brilliantly here. Maybe not his initial starting position, because he definitely just tiptoed out and tried to read the intentions of Johnson, who doesn't execute his delivery as he would have liked, but nearly got incredibly fortunate. And that is very, very close to an own goal. It's difficult to judge if exactly where he's released the ball, but that is close. Looked to be just edging over the line.
You could see he got a glimpse of the line. He knew where his surroundings were. Eventually he reacted, and well, he's certainly been in the thick of the action this season. He's made a couple of tremendous saves in their league matches so far, but almost caught out there. And West Brom enjoying a good start to this game, and there is a header goalwards, but just the wrong side of the post from a West Brom perspective from Hegeba.
Just maybe a fraction too heavy, and the angle's not good. I think when that's travelling, you probably think as a centre forward, I'll be able to get that onto the target. In reality, angle too tight. It was interesting seeing Campbell going and hurling in a long throw. Lost Darnell Furlong, who's obviously been a huge asset in that regard over the years for West Brom. Maybe, just maybe, that's what made Ryan Mason's mind up. Campbell over on that right-hand side, looks like he's going to hurl in something similar.
Styles knocks her forward to Johnson, and Thomas has picked out Obama and wants to get a shot away early. Well blocked by Phillips. Price has just skipped away from the challenge, and eventually does lose out. I think he wanted a free kick, but Stoke will play on. And a few spicy challenges coming in the last couple of moments. Well, a free kick has been given here. Baker just slightly over-eager, winning the ball back from Johnston.
He let one go slightly earlier, I think, the referee, when maybe a West Brom player was impeded. And this one's after the ball has been released. It's a bad giveaway once more, but definitely caught.
Another West Brom delivery, and that is headed across goal, and well, Stoke had to be alert in the form of Lawal.
Right, it's a very clear push, which is what the Stoke players are unhappy about. I say push, there's definite contact there. Whether it was enough to be a free kick, we'll have to see it again, but they're really unhappy about the contact from Campbell, who wins it nice and clean, tries to head it square towards the centre forward. Stoke able to clear their lines.
Well, it does present West Brom with this opportunity. Johansson tries to take control of it and has completely missed it. And Phillips has given West Brom the lead. A moment to forget for Johansson. And West Brom coming to Stoke City, who have won all of their games so far and have the perfect start.
Already we've seen an error in judgment from Johansson. Very rare, especially the start to the season that he's had, which has been phenomenal. And this is just an individual error. I think the contact with Lawal as well, who's just in front of the goalkeeper, but he's going to deal with it. I think Johansson tries to take control of the situation and makes an absolute hash of it. Phillips reacts on the half volley, left foot, and steers it in really comfortably. Nice contact, but not one the Stoke goalkeeper will want to see again.
Well, Nat Phillips continues his impressive start to the season. And Johansson very much in the thick of the action, having had that moment from Johnston's cross not that long ago, and then involved in that goal as Mepham concedes a free kick.
Yeah, I presume breakdown in communication. Johansson's got to be absolutely screaming for his central defender to get out the way there if he's coming to claim. You understand, the defender, when the ball's travelling, that he's going to be fixed eyes on the ball and try and clear his lines.
In goes the Stoke free kick, looking for an almost instant response, and they nearly get it. Was there a hint of a push? Certainly the appeals were from more in the crowd than on the pitch, but the home side trying to respond to that West Brom opener. And this is how they took the lead. Oh, sorry, this is the initial reaction, and I had to deal with that on the line. That's how close it was.
Yeah, I mean, tiptoeing out and trying to read where the delivery was going to land wasn't ideal, but his reaction was first class on that occasion. We've seen goalkeepers caught out many a time, and similar guys, so he did really well. Fast forward a couple of minutes and he's conceded a really embarrassing goal.
So Phillips' goal the difference, his first goal since he scored for Derby against Hull at the end of last season. Manoff stopped in his tracks by Styles. Chamadou continues his run, but it's Manoff. Looks for Mubama. Lowell. On to Wilmot. And a recent good run here. Looks set to continue, judging by what's happened in the first 18 minutes. And speaking of the 18th minute, a round of applause around the Bet365 stadium. One of Stoke's youngest fans, Danae Faith Holford, recently passed away at just 18 months old. And a show of support for her mum, dad and older brother Damo going around this stadium at the moment. Thomas attacks for Stoke. Mubama almost had it under control, but that will be a free kick to West Brom.
This deflection actually turned into a good ball from Obama. He's a little bit fixated on trying to get turned there and get his strike away rather than looking just to set it back for a teammate. In the end, it's an easy decision for the officials. Chamadou just overly aggressive into that challenge.
Well, Ryan Mason did say this week that he trusts his staff to get the message across, and felt that it would have minimal impact on his team's preparation for today.
Yeah, it's a different back four, but what you've got is really good experience back there, and this is going to give them the opportunity to be well set up and structured without the ball.
Well, here they come again with Johnston. Can he get a shot away? And it was a rather tame effort in the end, and Johansson comfortably takes.
Probably just looking to steer that towards the far corner. Never looked comfortable really on his weaker left side, and Johansson takes it comfortably.
Johnston's subject of interest from Brazil this summer, Flamengo. We're keen to sign him. This is a good move from Stoke. It looks promising. Chamadou has surged into the space. He's got plenty of support with him, and it is an effort on goal, and what a block that is. Strong appeals for handball. But it was Mubama running onto it, and he tries to lift the home crowds, and that's Stoke's biggest chance of the game so far.
Yeah, Baker does really well actually just to pull his right foot away from the ball. Manhoff, in fact, I think that's who it's intended for. Chamadou down the right-hand side, but it ends in a really presentable opportunity for Mubama. And I think it's the chest of Campbell who commits everything to the block and does brilliantly for his side.
Stoke biting back. What can they do with this corner? It is headed out by Phillips. Offside. So a free kick to West Brom, and an important block.
And that will do the home supporters some good. That obviously came behind to beat Derby opening day, but not ideal. going behind again today, but good response, really good move down the right-hand side, and Obama will be disappointed not to add it to his tally already. That was a really presentable sight of goal for him.
Well, West Brom making a nuisance of themselves again, but Stoke are able to get the ball upfield. Styles. Campbell. A chance of USA just a few moments ago after that block from the away supporters.
See Hegerberg just struggling to get involved in the game. They play really narrow, West Bromwich Albion. Wallace and Johnson coming infield, and if it's not on to punch it into those players to get turned, he has to be the next thought for the West Brom players. So not been able to get hold of the ball as much as maybe I anticipated thus far.
Well, it's been a nervy start for Johansson, and his kick straight out of play. Well, Robbins will not have been used to this so far this season, in the league certainly. And Hegerberg will chase that, but Johansson well off his line.
It's a really cute idea from Moet, able to get turned there, looked forward immediately, and Stoke's back line was really high up, and two West Brom players had made the dart. It was really unfortunate, difficult one to execute and take the pace off it from Moet, but good idea. Illustrates Stoke's build up quite well. It's unlikely that Cresswell is going to be bombing down the left-hand side now at this stage of his career. Chamadou will do, so it's a back three really in build-up.
Cresswell goes direct.
Looks like that's a bit of a ploy as well, I think, with his left foot, the quality that he's got in the range of passing that he possesses. A few times he's looked for it. It's not quite come off, but I think that's going to be it, isn't it? Cresswell, a little bit direct, playing to the front, and Chamadou will do a lot more running with the ball up the right-hand side and be afforded a higher starting position.
Well, in a week that West Brom have sold players and signed players, Stoke announced their own today. Thomas Rigo, central midfielder, but here come West Brom with Price, and it's a decent looking delivery. It just was above Hegerberg.
You've got three players specifically for West Brom who go hunting the ball so impressively. Wallace has always done that throughout his career. Price and Hegerberg, the work rate of those two guys means that Stoke have got to be really careful. They're giving the ball away a little bit in the middle third too frequently, and West Brom will punish them.
Johnson. Mepham onto the goal scorer Phillips. Obama has read that well, and as a result has given possession back to Stoke. Chamadou and Manoff hoping to combine on this right-hand side, but they've run into traffic. And Lowell on to Wilmot. Cresswell. Thomas. First real chance to run at Campbell, and Thomas has just overcooked that.
Started well, Campbell. He's been well protected by teammates to enable them to close the space that Sorba Thomas has been able to move into, but 1v1 there, matched him for pace, and in the end he couldn't execute the cross that he would have intended.
Advantage will be played as Cresswell remains on the ground, gingerly on his feet, but West Brom have won this back, and Price in possession. It's Johnston. Hegebo ahead of him. Hegebo does have it as the space opening up, and he opted to take on the shot, but what he didn't know was Chamadou was ready to read the situation.
Yeah, the Stoke fans not happy with a few 50-50s which are not being punished, and he just took a fraction too long there. You have to admire his endeavour. He's so heavily involved. There was a tackle there which the referee, I think, is just warning him about a few moments ago, but once again, always on the move, gets in, just needed to let fly on his left side a little bit quicker.
Well, the free kick immediately given, much to the delight of the home support.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness to the referee, he's let quite a lot go, even from the opening minute or two. I think you referenced a few challenges being snapped in, and he's allowed quite a lot to go. But, you know, as long as there's consistency there, not a problem. The Stoke fans feeling right now that they've got the wrong side of the coin on a couple of occasions recently, which has turned into West Brom promising kind of transitional attacks. There's certainly an aggression about West Brom. I mean, there's a physicality about them in terms of their back line. Naturally, you get that when you've got a centre-half playing right back, but aggressive without the ball. And they've made it difficult for Stoke to get any kind of rhythm in this first half.
Campbell just got away from Thomas. And Styles has some work to do to backtrack here, but it comfortably keeps it in play. Mowat. And Styles not getting the free kick, but Stoke will, because Mowat has jumped in. Matthew Donoghue has a word with Mowat. Junho put under pressure. It's Cresswell and Thomas exchange passes. Wilmot. And Stoke have played their way out of that, but it just runs away from Manoff. Mepham. Griffiths, the goalkeeper, not much to do in this opening 32 minutes as Hegebo tees it up for Johnson. He's got Price running off him, so too Styles. home crowd just beginning to get a bit agitated. It hasn't gone their team's way, and the effort from Johnston is a wayward one. He, of course, is capable of it. We've seen that recently as last week against Portsmouth.
Yeah, I think disappointment at the timing of the pass wasn't better from his previous involvement. Ultimately, it was a bit of a snapshot, wasn't it? Trying to take Johansson unawares. The first example, good example of Hegerber's hold-up play there. Really good touch, take on the left foot, and then a nice little popped set for one of his teammates. If he's not on to play into the wide players, as I touched on, he has to be the next port of call, and Chris Mepham found him beautifully there.
Well, when he is involved, the early consensus inside West Brom was that they've been very impressed with him. The ball sticks to him, he does chase everything, he creates space for others. That's something that West Brom have been really delighted with in his early impressions at the Hawthorns. This one for Wilmot to deal with, and he took no chances.
Yeah, he does that well. Jed Wallace, touch and delivered before the central defenders can't get set. Perfect for Hegerber, had it evaded Wilmot. Just able to deal with it there, but it was a nice little bit of football, Mowat at the centre of it, as you would expect.
Well, Stoke will be all too aware of what happened at one of the last corners. It is Mowat again, and this time it's headed clear by Lawal. The free kick has gone Stoke's way. And that ball deemed to be moving. Just a bit of frustration beginning to creep in around the Bet365 and amongst these Stoke players.
Yeah, and understandably directed at the officials rather than the players, and this is a man who needs to get more involved. Pulled left on a few occasions, you can see there, and had touches, but 3 touches in the opposition's half for your number 10. That's not enough, and I think if you look at his statistics across the seasons, not a great goal threat. Contributes a lot, I think, in terms of his all-round game, but they're going to want a little bit more in terms of creative spark, I feel.
It's one of the things he did say in pre-season as well, wanting to add more goals to his game and contribute in both of those areas, but Cresswell will deliver that, and Mubama just didn't quite get the direction on it, but it is still in play and a chance for Manoff to run at Styles, who sticks to his job well.
Yeah, another good ball in. Cresswell left-hand side, just a fraction too high from Mubama. And yeah, for John Ho, I just feel probably with better players around him, that onus won't be as strong as it maybe has been previously to get goals and create. He's got better players around him, but yeah, he's been on the periphery of this game. You can see it's pretty balanced, pretty even in terms of shots and the even feel of this game.
Wilmot under pressure from Price, and Jun Ho, Seko rather, and Cresswell. Manoff has Chamadou in support and opts to switch, and Cresswell just can't get to grips with that.
Another one who's been quite quiet by his standards, Manhoff on the right-hand side. It's a nice contrast between the two teams in terms of the pattern. They like to play with that width, Stoke, that's evident. 2 out-and-out wide players who have been very, very good from the outset of this season. West Brom with that narrow kind of setup, trying to overload the centre of the pitch with bodies, with aggression. And I think we're seeing that nice contrast in this first half. West Brom just edging it at the moment.
Thomas. Johnston in a one-on-one scenario. Tries to go inside, and always that can cause some panic in a defence when Johnston's in that position, but Stoke City defended it well on this occasion.
I thought there was another touch in it there, maybe. It looked like he'd done Chamadou, and then Baker on the cover, I think, is the player that he deflected off. There was just maybe one or two little touches more for him to try and manipulate the ball and get a better look at Jansen's goal.
Cresswell exchanging passes with Thomas, who does deliver towards that back post area, and the save from Griffiths, who has had, well, it's been largely quiet in this game, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Manoff drifting in at the back post, and the keeper did his job.
Well, there you go. I think if you afford Sorba Thomas that type of space, he's one of the best deliverers of a football in the division, unquestionably. It's just a dream of a cross. Put so much pace on it as a look as well. I'm sure he intends probably to go far post towards Manhoff. Stays big, Griffiths. That's key there. Doesn't go to ground, makes the save comfortably.
Good spell for Stoke here as Thomas goes again, but Campbell takes it from him and wins his side a throw in, and is greeted with applause from some of his teammates for that defensive effort. And there is Ryan Mason. He said this week we need to stand up and be ready to compete coming here to Stoke today, and he will be delighted with certainly the start they had when Nat Phillips scored the opening goal following that Johansson error. Will he be overall pleased with what he's seen?
Oh, absolutely. There's more to come going forward.
Here's Styles, and he does get that across goal, but never really near any of his teammates.
Yeah, they can be better with the ball, be a little bit more fluid, but in terms of the structure of the team and defensively, how they've limited Stoke's danger players in this first half, he'll be delighted. Campbell in particular, over on that right-hand side, when he's got into a race with Sorba Thomas or has had to defend 1v1, he's done brilliantly. Just probably that one occasion just then when Sorba Thomas had too much space to deliver the real quality. Other than that, it's been a really good defensive display to this point.
And the free kick has gone Stoke's way, and Wilmot will advance it forward to Chamadou. Malumbi was put under pressure, so opted to go back to Griffiths. And that ball towards Price is beyond the Northern Ireland international.
A few tackles, questionable tackles waved away by the officials in this first half, but I think you can tell Mowat and Malumbi have had the upper hand in there. Seko and Baker on the opposite side, not had the effect that those two have had. Maybe not in terms of being on the ball, but breaking up play. The ugly side of the game. Malumbi and Mowat definitely just shaded that department.
Lowell. Chamadou. Styles heads away. And Malumbi just loses out. Jun-Ho for Stoke.
Yeah, much better. Nice little bit of skill. Getting the team up the pitch and ultimately getting them the opportunity to, I presume, get a ball in the box.
So Thomas over to this side for the long throw. Johnston.
I think West Brom in this first half will know now if they can do a job on the two wide players. The two centre-halves will be, I think, confident they can deal with Mubama, given their physicality, their experience. Mepham and Phillips back there. So it's up to Jun-Ho, Baker, you know, centrally to step up as well. If Sorba Thomas and Manhoff are going to be so well marshalled as they have been in this first half, so they're going to have to show they've got different facets to break down what's going to be, you know, a tough West Brom structure.
Cresswell. Thomas. Just lofts that in towards Mubama. Another example of that kind of physical battle. Another cross comes in and Mubama maybe wasn't quite set.
And again, they've got really aggressive defenders back there, but you have to apply a little bit more pressure. Jed Wallace, too statuesque there. He needs to go and close Thomas. That's going to be a big part of their ammunition this season, let me tell you. And Wallace will know that now. Needs to go and close it.
And of course they will be well aware that the 3 goals West Brom have conceded this season have all been from open play crosses. Well, Jun-Ho has done well there, surrounded by a number of West Brom players, but ultimately they've given it away. But one back, Manoff, and he has support here. He opts to go central. He'll get it back. Manoff with the efforts, and Griffiths comfortably behind it.
All of a sudden, Jun-Ho's burst into life. It's his little bit of play. I think it's his 1-2 actually, ultimately. Yeah, sets it lovely for Manhoff's left foot, looking to reverse it. And Griffiths with the eyes just didn't catch it.
Obama the target again, but it was Styles on the cover. The flag was up. Styles does win quite a bit in the air, despite his height, but there is the half-time whistle, and his goal the difference. Nathaniel Phillips capitalising on an error from Johansson in the Stoke goal. Usually, and has been so reliable this season, the Stoke City goalkeeper, but from the corner he dropped the ball, and Phillips took full advantage from close range to give West Brom an eye-catching lead at half-time against a Stoke side going into this game that had won 3 from 3. A bit to work on for Mark Robbins at the break. Half-time here at the Bet365 Stadium. It's Stoke City 0, West Brom 1. Well, these the scenes at the Bet365 Stadium where West Brom are in the lead against Stoke City. It's a game that caught the imagination and grabbed attention leading into it, given both sides start to the season. And it is West Brom, thanks to that Nat Phillips goal after Johansson dropped the ball from a corner that separates the two sides. And Sam Parkin has been watching the game alongside me. And Sam, will Mark Robbins be tempted to tweak anything, or is it a case of let's see how it goes in the first 10-15 minutes of the half?
I think you have to fully trust in what's happened across the last 3 games. We mentioned it in the first half, came back from a goal behind to beat Derby convincingly on open day. And you have to factor in that these players have had a rest during the week as well. They played the fringe players, the second string, if you like, in that cup defeat. So should be fresh, should be a determination. and they've created a few chances towards the tail end. The better side maybe in the last 10 minutes of the half started to open up a little bit, look a little bit more threatening, so I think a bit of patience is required, and he'll know that. Mark Robbins, the team's in a good place, and again, despite trailing to West Brom, who are a good side, you know, Stoke look light years away from where they were 12 months ago.
And that, of course, is the key thing for Stoke. They have been used to toxic times, it's fair to say, at the club over the years, and stuck in a bit of a lull, and that has all changed. Those supporters have been excited about this season because of that improvement. Mark Robbins talked about it this week, the collective, from him and the football staff right the way through. John Walters, of course, sporting director, having people like John Walters and Ryan Shawcross as part of, in Shawcross's case, part of the coaching staff. Players who have been at Stoke when things were good for this club and helping to set standards as well. So all of that has helped them, but of course they are behind today to this West Brom side, who themselves have gone through changes in the summer. With Ryan Mason coming in, he's been watching this game, of course, from the stands after his sending off last week against Portsmouth. And I guess his message to those players, or certainly his coaching staff's message, is much more of the same.
Yeah, I think probably a little bit of organisation or advice in terms of their defensive setup. I think they probably identified Stoke's biggest threats, and they have dealt with it pretty well. Two wide boys, the centre forward. Again, I want a little bit more from Stoke's number 10, Junho. I think it's important that he can hurt them a little bit centrally, but in terms of the way they've defended wide, really good. Defended the box, excellent. Goalkeeper's been called into action on a couple of occasions, and I'm sure, bearing that in mind, Ryan Mason will feel one more probably on the counter as Stoke push. Could be enough for maximum points today. So yeah, West Brom a goal to the good, but nicely poised before this second period.
We have seen glimpses of Nigel Gibbs, Demi Abea, members of the backroom staff, in the absence of Mason on the touchline. So West Brom have a lead heading into the second half, and Stoke City will be looking for a response, and Johansson has given it straight to West Brom, and it's Hegebe, and that ball is just nicked away from him. I think it was Wilmot who made the challenge, but West Brom come again, and Stoke will have to concentrate here in the early stages of this second half. Styles, Malumbi, Price, Johnston, West Brom building. That ball is delivered in. It's Hegebe who tries to attack it, and it's helped clear by Junho, and now Thomas can run away with it. It was Phillips who, with the sliding challenge, anticipated it.
Yeah, he did great, because that's probably one of few occasions there's been grass to run into for Thomas, and he's going to get away from Campbell there. Not a situation he will want to find himself in, but Phillips with some expert defending. The amount of times West Brom are winning the ball around about the middle third or in Stoke's half has been really evident to me. This is a hard-working unit that Ryan Mason is nurturing.
More to Campbell, on to Phillips. Hegebe has just nudged Wilmot off the ball. Lowell to Wilmot. Cresswell looked for Junho, and now it is Seko. Well, that's an awkward touch, and it may let Stoke in here. Chance for the equaliser, and it's agonisingly off the post. From a Stoke perspective, Mubama thought he had equalised. West Brom casual in their defending, and it gifted Stoke City an opportunity.
It was a horrible bit of defending by Styles, but brilliant ball from Seko. It was a defender's nightmare to have to deal with. He made a real hash of it, and he just about controlled the finish. Mubama took a slight nick, I think, which just took it towards the far post, kissing off the outside of the right-hand post. But a real let-off for West Brom, no doubt.
Baker. Manoff. As Chamadou again ahead of him. And Baker's making a run here as well. Chamadou forced back. Lowell to Seko. Stoke building, and that is a corner. Oh, Mubama, this is how close he came to the equaliser.
Yeah, this is a brilliantly flighted ball. Doesn't get his body shape right, wants to go with the left foot, and I think it's just off the heels of Styles, who recovers to put a little bit of pressure on Mubama. And yeah, I don't think he knows too much about it, but that touch, all important.
Well, a lot of players inside the 6-yard box, as I don't think Matthew Donoghue was ready for the corner to be taken.
Every single one of Stoke's attacking players inside the 6-yard box here, taking West Bromwich Albion right onto the toes of their goalkeeper. Just a while there in the corner of the screen, staying out around about the penalty spot. Unusual setup.
Well, the corner can now be taken, and it is a tester for Griffiths. Young goalkeeper finding his way here at West Brom after numerous loan spells. Chamadou with the throw in, and it is helped on eventually by Price. West Brom have been able to get control here after a spell of pressure in the last few moments from the home side. Campbell. Malumbi to Phillips. On to Mepham. Thrown straight into the action. The other signing, Alfie Gilchrist, on the bench for West Brom today. Here is Mepham. Styles. Gives the ball to Chamadou. Right back is an area, incidentally, that Mark Robbins is slightly worried about, in the sense that Chamadou will go off to the Africa Cup of Nations later this season. Cresswell. Thomas looking to run at West Brom. Junho. Thomas again looking to get more involved in the game, and the cross just a little bit taken off it, perhaps a slight deflection, but Griffiths in charge of that situation.
Yeah, that early chance in the second half from Obama, and nothing of note really on Griffiths' goal since then. And West Brom will want that second, absolutely desperate for it, to try and kill this game off, because Stoke are going to come, and they're going to come with aggression, you would imagine, if it's going to stay on a knife edge.
Styles to Johnson. Looks promising this for West Brom, but Johnston forced back. Now Campbell.
And look how narrow West Brom are. Fullback there, Campbell stepping into midfield, joining in with the play, but throw a blanket over all the West Brom players momentarily. Styles now over on the left-hand side with Johnson, but yeah, that lack of width really evident today.
Well, Campbell put under pressure, and this is in for Mubama. Seko on to Baker, helps it out to Manoff, takes on Styles, who was aggressive in his approach and has conceded the throw-in, but successfully dampens that attack. Thomas takes on Campbell and does get away from him, and a flying header from Phillips puts that behind for a Stoke corner, and a roar from those home supporters, because they're maybe starting to see a little bit more of Thomas on this left-hand side.
Yeah, can't get into a race with him, Campbell. He was getting tight in the first half, being really aggressive there. There's space on the outside, and Thomas, maybe for the first time, taking on his left foot, breezed past his marker. It's not that well presented inside the 18-yard box. Well dealt with by Phillips once more.
So this latest corner, again, the referee just keeping an eye on a few players, but that is emphatically headed clear by Phillips, who does defend his box really well. Has done this season, but this is causing problems. Again, Phillips tries to get that clear, but Junho wants to line up a shot, and Mowat eventually scrambles clear.
But the second time Seko, sorry, in the second period, has shown real quality with his right foot. That one searching ball that got Mubama's opportunity, and there, brilliant delivery, whipped in with real pace.
Well, that's just got away from Thomas, but the flag was up. Will he be pleased with the response from his team?
Yeah, I think satisfied. Obviously hit the woodwork. Couple of good deliveries from either side, just testing that West Brom back line. But again, I think they're going to need something a little bit more sophisticated than just tossing balls in there. Phillips has been an absolute rock for one so far this afternoon. Got good physicality and aggression back there, West Brom, to deal with this type of approach. So still looking for those technically gifted front players that Stoke have got in their armoury to come to the fore.
Obama forced back. Cresswell. Mulumbai tidying things up for West Brom, and now Mowat. Hegeba looks to turn his way out of trouble. He's done well as the big Norwegian striker. And there's another glimpse of maybe what we saw last week against Portsmouth, with, you know, good old-fashioned battle. with a defender, a bit of shirt pulling going on. This time he gets the free kick.
He did wonderfully well. There was a pass on, I think it was Price to his right-hand side, who just made a little dart in behind. He just held on to it a fraction too long, but brilliant strength, great hold-up play. There seems to be a control about West Brom. I think when you look at the two centre-halves, the experience there, and the two central midfield players, Malombai and, of course, Mowat on the ball there. There's no panic at the moment, calm on the ball.
Well, West Brom have manufactured something for themselves here, but the effort was well over. And what's happened here? There has been an incident off the ball. I see Isaac Price in the middle of things. Matthew Donoghue's going to have his work cut out here to find out what's happening, and you can see it's threatening to boil out of control.
Johnson 30 was caught on the edge of the 18-yard box. Why Mbama's on the deck, we don't know, and I think that's what both teams are contesting at the moment.
Well, let's keep an eye on this. Let's have a look at what's happened.
Yeah, so that's not a foul. He makes the most of it. Stoke right to feel a little aggrieved, and Mbama goes over to have a few words. There's a little arm in the back from Price, but not enough to send a big centre forward to the deck, I'm afraid. He won't look back on that too fondly, I'm sure, and hopefully it's just a ticking off for all concerned. I thought he was potentially harshly dealt with, really, with his second yellow, Obama, at St Mary's, but there, not sure. Chamadou, I think, and Price for their little set too.
Yeah, yellow card each. That will take the sting out of the situation. Price and Chamadou. So we've hit the hour mark, and West Brom still leading thanks to that Nat Phillips goal early in the first half. And here is the goal scorer. Thomas. Stoke have got themselves a throw. Thomas wants to inject some urgency, but rather will focus on the longer throw-in. And it goes, and again, it looks like Phillips, it was headed clear. And bit of a wild effort from Manoff.
Another sight of goal for him. Didn't quite catch the one just prior to the half-time whistle, and this time on his right foot, his weaker side, on the volley. Really difficult to control this and get it onto the target. But they're asking more questions, the home side. Just not had that, probably that fluidity, the chemistry of previous performances so far this season. Still time.
Hegeba on to Wallace. Johnston. Price out on this left-hand side. Has Styles in support, but so too Johnston. Malumbai. Does line it up, but he just got that all wrong.
He's been neat and tidy so far, Moet, and yeah, Ryan Mason, I think, will be pleased. Yes, would love the cushion of a second, of course, but I think he will be delighted by what he's seen defensively, especially when we probably looked at that and felt that the lineup could be a weakness today, with so much going on during the weeks preceding, the days preceding rather.
Hegeba. Wallace. Little support. Phillips to Styles. Thomas. Real sense of anticipation around the stadium when he has the ball, and the free kick has gone against him.
Even with his limited opportunities to affect things this afternoon thus far in the final third, he's still put in a couple of tantalising deliveries. If the whistle was to go now, you'd have to say Campbell's done a really good job up against him, an area of the pitch that I felt that Stoke would surely exploit today, but he stood up really well to the task.
Wilmot. It's Cresswell. Baker. Manoff looked for that run of Chamadou, and that has found its way through to Jun-Ho. Phillips there again. Then it's Moet who tries to set Price clear. Here is Isaac Price. And it's fizzed across goal. Hegeba was not far away at all from making contact on that. And so close to doubling of that West Brom lead.
No, we've not seen too much of Price carrying the ball up the pitch, and what a clever delivery from Moet. Just unable to stretch and surely get his first goal in the Championship.
That's a heavy touch, and Johansson finds the ball back with him, but Stoke successfully play their way out. It's Mbama. Thomas has come across to this side, try his luck against Styles, and he might get some joy here. He has delivered the cross towards Mbama. It falls for Jun-Ho! Well, it was a brilliant bit of control and the turn and the effort from Jun-Ho, but it was lacking the direction towards the target.
Yeah, a terrific attempt. To be interested to see if Thomas stays on that right-hand side now, collects it brilliantly, and he's a fraction away from what would have been a wonderful equaliser. Seko, who started that move in a deep position for Stoke. He's starting to find his range, his passing range. Thomas with excellent wing play and just cut across the ball, and the deviation took it away from the upright.
Well, approval from his manager.
Looks like Thomas is going to stay out there and have a go up against Styles, which is, again, credit to Campbell, you've got to say. And if naturally left-footed, will probably look to take the aforementioned Campbell on the outside rather than coming in field. So a different approach, and that delivery of Thomas probably comes more into play now. He's not going to want to open up the pitch and play on his left foot. He'll want to go on the outside and deliver. Mbama needs to know that, and his movement has to be aggressive and on point.
Johnston. This is promising for West Brom. It's Jed Wallace in a good position, and he almost forced its way through to Isaac Price, who has his hands on his head just like Wallace, because they knew had that got through there were problems for Stoke.
Yeah, they were able to get a block on the ball as Price is poised. He's been quiet, you've got to say, both number 10 so far this afternoon. And Price would have been on hand surely to give West Brom their second.
Well, a yellow card for Campbell. A large crowd around Johansson as Mowatt prepares to deliver this corner, and it is Hegebe who does help it across goal, and it was Wallace who swung at it. Big chance for West Brom as they go in search of a second goal.
Glorious chance. Jed Wallace involved a moment or two ago down the right-hand side. Finds himself completely free on the far post. It's a great touch from Hegebe, and it's a sitter. Doesn't make any contact whatsoever.
Well, will it prove costly? Here comes Stoke. Thomas. The pass just a little undercooked. Well, it's an interesting game heading into the last 20 minutes. Styles will certainly have his work cut out against Thomas on that side. Campbell. Johnston. Mepham. Well, that is clever from Price, and Hegebe has the ball for West Brom. Styles. Mepham. Big week coming up for Mepham as they break off for the internationals. Mepham set to win his 50th Wales cap as they go to Kazakhstan, and Hegebe, well, he wanted the free kick. He's not going to get it because there was an advantage played, and Price was suddenly in a great position, and we've seen him so many times before find the corner of the net, but not on this occasion. And has it just been pulled back, actually?
Looks like it, doesn't it? And can understand Stoke City feeling aggrieved. It's a really good take from Hegebe. Certainly a touch on the ball, but Still felt it was probably an infringement from Wilmot. The touch actually comes laterally. Lawal and Price with, for his standards, a good opportunity on his right foot, unable to steer it onto the target, and questionably given another opportunity here, West Brom.
I can only imagine the whistle had gone before Price's efforts. Well, it may be a little controversial from a Stoke perspective if West Brom do something here, and the header is helped goalwards by Phillips. Looking for a second of the afternoon.
I know it just fed it into that area where Junho does enough, I think, just to pressurise Phillips, get himself in a decent defensive position to make it a tough header.
Cresswell forward for Mubama. Price back helping defensively, but he's given it away, and Stoke will come forward here. Mubama out to Thomas, chance to run at Styles. He's got support from Chamadou. Thomas will opt to deliver on that left foot. Cresswell well advanced here. Junho to Manoff. Lawal out to Thomas. Malumbai cuts that out for West Brom. Thomas opts to go inside this time and then tried to pick out Baker, and Thomas goes for goal, and Griffiths had to be alert just to tip that behind for a corner.
It's an unorthodox save from the goalkeeper. It's a clever attempt from Thomas, but he doesn't get it towards the far corner, which I'm sure is what he was intending. Yeah, maybe just a little bit out his timing there. Griffiths took off a little bit early and decides to push it over rather than take it.
Cresswell over this corner for Stoke. It is headed clear emphatically by Phillips. Chamadou. And he's put under pressure by Hegeba. Stoke crowds becoming quite hostile. They felt that there was an advantage play there, maybe perhaps not before with the West Brom free kick. Well, that's a careless pass from Junho, and it may set up West Brom for a promising attack with Price as support from Mulumbai. Price to Mowat. Styles. Campbell turns out of pressure from Manoff. Campbell will retrieve it again, this time in a much more advanced position. He's looked to get past Wilmot with ease. It's Campbell. What's he done here? And Price just couldn't quite get the meaningful contact on it, but Campbell enjoying himself down that right-hand side.
Superb play. He's been brilliant, Campbell. This is his best moment in an attacking sense, and Price, I think, caught in two minds. Chamadou closing him down with aggression. Could have just shifted it, maybe first touch, and drew on the foul. Well, you've got to put your foot through it. Does neither. Jed Wallace feeling the pace, understandably.
Well, this break and play will allow substitution. And it is the end of the afternoon for Jed Wallace. He came into the team following the sale of Tom Fellows to Southampton. And Toby Collier is the man to replace him for the final 12 minutes plus any added time. Good loan signing for Ryan Mason. Collier will slot into that central midfield area.
Just switched Price to left-hand side and Johnson over to the right of the team. Mulumby going to push up on players of 10. And they've managed this situation really well. Stoke have had pockets of pressure, maybe not enough to suggest they deserve anything from this game. Not been able to put them under periods of real pressure where they've been rocking defensively. That experience has shone through, I think, for the away side.
Cresswell. Well, it's careless from him. He's given it straight to the West Brom substitute, Collier. Campbell to Mowat.
And despite the obvious improvements in the attack they'll be looking for, West Brom, from this attacking unit and players to come back, I don't think this is going to be the last time they're leading in this fashion, narrowly away from home. They look really well set up. Defensively, I've been incredibly impressed, especially with Phillips, the goal scorer. He's probably been the pick, but in that fullback department as well. Unlikely to stay as it is today, but they've done very well, Styles and Campbell.
Mowat to Mulumby. That's just got away from Johnston. A little bit of a disagreement between the pair. Thomas pulls that out of the air, and was he caught by Styles? Nothing given. Mepham picks out Hegeba. Possible chance for West Brom to drive forward here. Campbell's on the outside, and he has picked this up for West Brom. Couldn't quite pick out a teammates as Manoff comes back to carry out his defensive duties.
The touch just took him away from the goal rather than in towards it. Able to recover, Stoke City, but it's very even. Home side not really forcing the issue here, and you wouldn't be surprised if the next goal was the clincher for the away side on the break.
Mowat's delivery, and it's testing one, and that is hooked goalwards. And Collier, having just come on, didn't quite get the connection right.
Big opportunity for him, coming away from the target, yes, but plenty of time to try and wrap his right foot around it onto the target. This has been a product of the second half. Seko getting on the ball really deep and allowing Baker to go very high with Jun Ho. Baker has had such a quiet game. Been a really good player for Stoke, but unable to make those darts forward and get in the box. Here we go.
Here he is, Baker's delivery towards Mubama, and it was cut out by, you've guessed it, Nat Phillips.
Yeah, colossal. Baker has been so quiet. Always good for a goal. Timing his runs into the box from midfield, and I think that's one little change that Mark Robbins has made throughout the proceedings, just to push him a bit higher, to give Jun Ho a little bit more support and a bit more of a goal threat for them collectively.
Well, that's fallen for Baker, and he didn't quite talk about not getting the connection at the other end for Collier.
And there you go, that's his position, edge of the box, just didn't get any kind of venom behind it. Be disappointed. Yeah, he wants it on his right foot, but still, in the context of this second half, that's a good chance.
Johnston has found Mulumbai in space, and he in turn tries to bring Isaac Price into this attack. Hegeba makes that dart, and is he just nudged over by Lawal? Immediately bounces back up and keeps possession for the visitors.
Yeah, for a strong boy, the centre forward, he's looked to go to ground on a few occasions in this second half. Lawal, I think, just stronger on that occasion. Hegeba just trying to buy one off the officials, but wise to the situation, rightly.
Does what happened last week impact on his thinking? Because he was some debate about if he had gone down last week as he was being grappled with.
Possibly, yeah, maybe on the second incident last week. He was very unfortunate not to get a penalty as he was trying to get his strike away.
Bojanek and Pearson going to make an entrance. Junho and Seko. Well, this is a promising attack, perhaps for Stoke. Here they come. They've got plenty of players forward, and that is deep. Manoff was setting himself, but Campbell in the way of it. Manoff again. And Campbell, not for the first time this afternoon, sticks to his task.
Yeah, he can need a chance of USA every time he's involved. He's really endeared himself to the away supporters in the early stage of his West Brom career, and I'm sure he's going to be called upon to defend again in the minutes that remain as Stoke push.
Johnston helps that clear amid appeals from the crowd for handball. Price. Hegeba.
I think in possession, Bojanek's just going to look to go and get really close to Mubama. More of a goal threat on now, you would suggest, the way they lined up.
Pearson. Cresswell. Mubama is the target here, and he was the last contact, and that has gone behind much to the disappointment of those home supporters too, for a goal kick, and that allows West Brom to make their double change. Diakite and Williams about to enter for the last 2.5 minutes plus any added time. Good shift from Alex Mowat, but also Johnston making way.
I think we've seen today, despite units changing around him, having the continuity of Mowat, Mulumbai in particular, have given them so much nous in this type of situation, defending the lead. Defensively, they look really stable, but those two in the middle of the park, dependable championship players, really important this afternoon.
Well, is there to be one significant final push for the home side, or does this 100% winning record come to an end? Unless they can find 2 goals in the closing stages. But West Brom, as always, stubborn opposition and on course to remain unbeaten. And they may even add a second, because here's Hegeba, and they are getting numbers forward in this attack, led by Alex Williams. And they opt for some control in the game. Diakite's touch was a bit heavy for him, and then Phillips does manage to help it towards Mepham. As the pair reunited today from their Bournemouth days. And that's just a bit sloppy from Campbell, and it has given Stoke a throw-in. But is there the urgency from the home side that's maybe required at this stage of the game?
Yeah, the belief just seems to have been sucked out of the home side in the last 10-15 minutes. It's been managed expertly by the visitors. They'll know they're almost there. Just concentration it is for those defensive players. Fresh legs on now to try and get the ball carried up the pitch, and something like that just alleviates any pressure, the relief that they'll be feeling defending this narrow lead. It's been a really professional performance, and again, the strength of West Brom over many years under Carlos Corberán, I think, seems to be in evidence still.
It could make things awkward for Johansson, with Hegeba bearing down on him. Diakite getting right involved in the action, and Campbell involved as well. Eventually West Brom get it into a position they will be quite happy to be in added time. Almost 2 minutes of the 5 played. And Stoke are going to make one last attempt to create an impact here. Boca is going to replace Cresswell.
A little bit surprised it's come so late, that one. Not that Cresswell's done anything wrong, but just to add a little bit more attacking impetus. That said, Cresswell's just been tiptoeing forward the last 5-10 minutes, really. Both fullbacks going.
Price driving forward for West Brom. I think we know where he's going. West Brom doing their best to continue to take the sting out of this one, see the game out. It will be, should they confirm this scoreline, a hugely impressive result, given Stoke's start to the campaign, given they've had to come here at a time when there is a lot of excitement back amongst Stoke City and the improvements that they've made.
I think Ryan Mason will be delighted with the foundations of his team. Every supporter probably wants to see free-flowing football, and that could very well happen in time. But at the moment, the fight for one another, the shape of the team, they look like a really good unit. And maybe it's been a galvanising 3 days. Losing two big players, certainly a mainstay Furlong for so long, and Fellows, really talented young player. They'd have been brought together by the commotion of the week.
Thomas getting the ball into the penalty area, and it had to be dealt with by Phillips again. And there is going to be a Stoke City corner, so there will be defending to do for West Brom. Stoke determined not to go out with a whimper.
Bokar with a good approach play down the left, keeping it alive, and only need one good delivery. We know this man is more than capable of providing his teammates with the ammunition.
Time is running out into the last minute of added time. His delivery is a good one, right into that 6-yard box. Griffiths will try and keep hold of it, but not easy in amongst the crowded penalty area. Similar type of situation perhaps to Johansson for the goal, which seems a long time ago at Phillips' goal. And again, there is just going to be a bit of sting taken out of this with a sub inside the final 30 seconds, and it's Josh Madja.
I thought it was going to be Hegerberg, but that just shows you his importance once more, how well he's playing as a team player. His work rate, even at this late stage, very useful to have when you're defending a lead of this note. And Madja in time, when he gets back to full pelt, will be a really good option for Ryan Mason down the middle as well.
Well, Malumbi departed and Madja on the field, so it is their time for one final venture into the West Brom penalty area. Let's see. Lawal. On he goes, and the challenge coming in, and this may set West Brom free. It's Hegerberg. He's got Price one side of him, and he may be able to get Price in here. How much ambition will he have? I think that will be the decision that eventually does see out this game, and all 3 points for West Brom. Price has a meeting with Luxembourg and Germany to look forward to next week. And still Stoke can't get out, and it is indeed a first defeat of the season for Stoke City, inflicted by Ryan Mason's West Brom. Not in the dugout, no problem for him. And on the pitch, they did their damage early in the first half against Mark Robin's side. Nat Phillips, a colossus defensively, as he has been in the early stages of this season, but making an impact at the other end as well. Following Johansson dropping the ball inside the area, he showed good composure to finish from close range 14 minutes into this game, and it proves to be the match winner, as he then forced a series of excellent defensive clearances as well, alongside his former Bournemouth teammate Chris Mepham. A debut for him, a clean sheet for him, and West Brom continue their unbeaten start to the season. They have come here to the Bet365 Stadium and they have won full-time. Stoke City 0, West Brom 1.